Sarephine, her robes lightly dusted with the remnants of her arcane encounters, walked with purpose through Falcon Wing Square. She had aided Magister Geronis in retrieving arcane cores, supported Captain Sunbrand in recovering unstable mana crystals, and even slain Thalos the Hungerer. Yet, as she prepared to head toward the North Sanctum, the captain's mention of Darnassian Intrusions lingered in her thoughts. Halfway there, Sarephine hesitated, realizing the importance of understanding the situation before departing Falconwing. Turning on her heel, she returned to Captain Sunbrand, ready to uncover the full story.
Captain Sunbrand, you mentioned something about Darnassian intrusions? What's happening?
Besides the constant threat that the wretched represent, I also have to deal with all kinds of fictitious reports of night elf sightings.
Fictitious reports? So, you believe there's no real threat?
Though most reports are unfounded, one recent incident demands further investigation. The West Sanctum, one of our primary energy sources, has suffered a terrible malfunction, and rumors of Darnassian sabotage are rampant.
The West Sanctum? What would you have me do, Captain?
Travel there and deal with anyone that looks suspicious. Report back to Laykeeper Valenia, who watches over the Sanctum.
Understood, Captain. I'll head to the West Sanctum immediately and see what I can uncover.
Sarephine made her way toward the North Sanctum, her thoughts lingering on Captain Sunbrand's words. The morning sun filtered through the canopy above as she approached the Sanctum's entrance, her pace steady but cautious. A figure caught her eye, a dwarf standing oddly out of place near the entrance. His appearance was unkempt, his stance deliberate yet inconspicuous. Sarephine narrowed her eyes, suspicion creeping into her thoughts. Who was this dwarf, and what business could he possibly have here? Though curiosity tugged at her, she pushed the thought aside for now, focusing instead on finding Laykeeper Kaidanis.
Laykeeper Kaidanis, I bring a letter for you from Falcon Wing Square. Captain Sunbrand asked me to deliver it.
Thank you, Sarephine. I've been expecting this letter. Since you're here, Sarephine, I have a favor to ask of you. Laykeeper Valenia's apprentice dropped by earlier to ask for assistance.
Assistance? Is everything all right?
Apparently, there's some malfunction happening at the West Sanctum. It seems serious enough to warrant help, but I've been occupied.
Occupied? With what, if I may ask?
Entertaining our most pleasant dwarven guest. Let's just say his company is quite the distraction. In the meantime, could you head to the West Sanctum and lend a hand?
Of course, Laykeeper. Where exactly is the West Sanctum?
You'll find it southwest of here. Speak with Laykeeper Valenia when you arrive. She'll fill you in on the details.
Sarephine moved swiftly toward the West Sanctum, her mind a whirl of questions. What could be causing these malfunctions in the Sanctums? And perhaps more puzzling, why was there a guest from Ironforge at the North Sanctum? The threads of these mysteries tangled in her thoughts as she navigated the path southwest. The Sanctum came into view, its arcane structure standing tall against the vibrant forest. Laykeeper Valenia stood beneath a tree just outside the Sanctum, her calm presence a stark contrast to Sarephine's restless curiosity.
Laykeeper Valenia, I bring a message from Laykeeper Kaidanis. He mentioned you needed assistance with a malfunction at the Sanctum.
Look around you, Sarephine. Things aren't exactly in order.
It does seem chaotic. What exactly is the situation here?
We have a severe malfunction at the West Sanctum. Arcane flows are destabilizing, and if left unchecked, it could lead to disastrous consequences.
That sounds serious. What can I do to help?
Let us do our best to prevent matters from getting worse. Your timing is fortunate. We'll need every bit of help we can get. It's about time that dimwit Kaidanis sent someone this way.
Laykeeper Valenia, what exactly is the problem? What needs to be done?
I warned of the dangers of increasing the load on the West Sanctum. Now one of our energy converters is destroyed, and arcane wraiths are pouring out of the Sanctum.
Arcane wraiths. That sounds dire. How can I help?
I'm going to need you to take care of these creatures before we send anyone in for repairs. Make haste.
Sarephine walked toward the West Sanctum, its grandeur matching the beauty of the North Sanctum. The vibrant red hues of the structure stood boldly against the backdrop of fall-colored trees, creating a breathtaking sight. For a moment, the splendor distracted her, but her focus quickly returned to the task at hand. As she approached the sanctum, her eyes locked onto the ghostly forms ahead. Mana stalkers, their translucent shapes shimmering in the light, prowled the area, while arcane wraiths, swirling with a cloudy blue energy, floated ominously nearby. Sarephine did not hesitate. With a swift motion, she cast a frostbolt at the nearest stalker. The spell struck true, and after a few precise hits, the creature vanished, leaving behind a pearl-like orb that shimmered faintly in the grass. She pressed onward, dispatching the creatures with practiced precision. The sanctum stood slightly lower than the surrounding terrain, requiring her to descend into the area to continue her work. The arcane flows in the air felt unstable, as though the sanctum itself was struggling to maintain its balance. As Sarephine rounded the back of the sanctum, her eyes caught sight of a tall, lean shadow moving in the distance. The figure was unfamiliar, its movements deliberate yet unaware of her presence. Her pulse quickened, a Darnassian spy, perhaps. Without a moment's hesitation, she positioned herself and unleashed a frostbolt, immediately following it with a fire blast. The figure staggered but did not fall. Retaliating with a ferocious attack, Sarephine held her ground, freezing it in place with a deft spell before delivering a powerful finishing blow that subdued the mysterious figure. Sarephine knelt beside the fallen figure, her fingers quickly searching through its belongings. Among the tattered clothing and strange trinkets, she found a set of documents. Unfolding them, her eyes scanned the contents, a collection of detailed maps depicting strategic buildings scattered across Eversong Woods. One diagram caught her attention, an intricate sketch of an arcane sanctum, marked with cryptic symbols and notes written in a language she couldn't decipher. Saraphine's brow furrowed. These were no ordinary papers. They carried the weight of intent, possibly sabotage. Recognizing their importance, she decided to bring them to Captain Eöden Sunbrand without delay.
The wraiths have been dealt with, Laykeeper Valenia. The sanctum should be clear for now.
Thank you, Sarephine. Now that we have the wraiths under control, we can send someone in to assess the damage.
Do you think the damage will have lasting effects?
Hopefully not. With any luck, this wasn't anything permanent. We'll know more once the repairs begin.
Laykeeper Valenia, Captain Sunbrand asked me to investigate the situation here. While dealing with the wraiths, I found a Darnassian spy near the sanctum.
Night elves? Here? Those rats?
I found incriminating documents on the spy. They seem to contain maps and notes, but I can't decipher them.
Do you suppose they had anything to do with the malfunction in my sanctum? If you have any information, you'd better take it to Captain Sunbrand at once.
Sarephine gave a quick nod to Laykeeper Valenia. Her resolve firm as she turned and dashed toward Falconwing Square. The documents she carried felt heavy with the weight of their implications. The Darnassian spy's presence and the potential connection to the Sanctum's malfunction swirled in her mind, urging her onward. As she reached Falconwing, she didn't pause to catch her breath, heading straight for Captain Sunbrand. He needed to see these documents without delay.
Captain Sunbrand, I found these documents on a Darnassian spy near the West Sanctum. They contain detailed maps of Eversong Woods and notes I couldn't decipher.
Are you sure you found these on a night elf? They're clearly written in Dwarven.
Dwarven? Then they weren't written by the spy. What do they say?
From what I can understand of this letter, whoever wrote this did not cause the malfunction, but rather was sent here as a spy to observe the results of it. They call our endeavors reckless and dangerous. But who?
Do you suspect someone within the Alliance, Captain?
Of course. That envoy from Ironforge. We were fools to trust anyone belonging to the Alliance. Listen, Sarephine. This is a very delicate situation. Even though we've identified the spy, we cannot kill him out in the open. We cannot try to capture him either, as the risk of him escaping is too great.
So, what do you need me to do, Captain?
I want you to find Prospector Anvilward at the North Sanctum and kill him. Do this quietly. We cannot let word spread that we allowed a spy into our city.
You want me to bring him down silently. Understood, Captain. Anything else?
Bring me his head as proof. Ironforge will learn not to meddle with the Dorei.
It all became clear to Sarephine as Captain Sunbrand's words echoed in her mind. The dwarf she had seen near the North Sanctum, Prospector Anvilward, was the spy. His presence had felt out of place from the start. Sarephine ran toward the sanctum, her pulse steady with determination. As she approached, she paused for a moment, her mind racing to devise a plan. Taking a deep breath, she calmed herself and walked deliberately toward the dwarf, positioning herself right in front of him.
What are you looking at, lass? Never seen a dwarf before then. You'd best be on your way if you don't want any trouble.
I need a moment of your time, sir.
Ah, you must be the lass assigned to show me around the Eversong Woods. Took your sweet time getting here, didn't you? Very well, off we go. Let us not waste one more minute.
Why? Yes, of course. I've something to show you right inside this building, Mr. Anvilward.
The prospector strode confidently into the sanctum, his demeanor casual, as if he had nothing to fear. Sarephine followed a few steps behind, her face calm but her mind storming with hatred and resolve. She kept her emotions hidden, ensuring the dwarf wouldn't suspect her true intentions. As they ascended to the upper level of the sanctum, the prospector slowed his pace, his demeanor shifting. His eyes darted around the space, studying his surroundings with growing unease. It was then that realization struck him like a hammer to the anvil. This was a trap. The Blood Elves had discovered his true identity.
What manner of trick is this? If you seek to ambush me, I warn you I will not go down quietly.
The dwarf lunged at Sarephine, his attack quick and fierce, but she was ready. With a sharp gesture, she cast a freezing spell, stopping him in his tracks. The icy tendrils wrapped around him, immobilizing his movements as he struggled to break free. Sarephine wasted no time. Channeling her arcane energy, she hurled a massive fireball toward him. The flames engulfed the prospector, and as the ice shattered, he fell to the ground, defeated. His strength was no match for Saraphine's mastery of magic, and the battle was over almost as quickly as it had begun. Sarephine stood over the fallen prospector for a brief moment, her expression unreadable. Without a word, she turned and calmly descended the ramp, her steps deliberate and unhurried. Exiting the sanctum, she took a deep breath of the crisp air, steeling herself for what came next. Once she was far enough from the sanctum, she broke into a sprint, her resolve driving her back toward Falconwing Square. Upon reaching the bustling square, Sarephine wasted no time. She headed straight for Captain Sunbrand, her steps purposeful and swift. The weight of her actions lingered, but there was no hesitation in her movement. She had a mission to complete.
Captain Sunbrand, the task is complete. The spy has been dealt with as instructed.
So, the deed is done. Excellent job. Word has been passed to the Ranger General, and believe me, the dwarves will pay dearly for their treason. You've been of great service to your people today, Sarephine. I have another task for you, Sarephine. Ranger Degolian was sent to Fairbreeze Village to investigate a wretched attack on a nearby shipyard.
A wretched attack? Do we know how serious it is?
Not yet. Degolian has requested reinforcements, but we cannot spare them at the moment. That's where you come in.
Understood. What would you have me do?
Seek him out and grant him whatever aid you can. Fairbreeze Village is south of here, along the road leading out of Falconwing Square. Follow it all the way down and you'll find the village.
I'll head there right away. Thank you for the directions, Captain.
Good luck, Sarephine. Our people are counting on you.
With her task in Falconwing Square complete and a new assignment ahead, Sarephine set out on the road toward Fairbreeze Village. Her thoughts swirled as she ran, the memory of the Alliance spy and the strange malfunction at the Sanctums lingering in her mind. Was the dwarf truly working alone, or was there more to uncover? The prospect of a wretched attack at Fairbreeze weighed on her as well. Sarephine hoped the situation was not as dire as it sounded. Shaking off her doubts, she pressed on, determined to face whatever awaited her in the village.